All right, here we go. Salute to Knicks Nation on this Wednesday night. Took a couple of days off for the holidays, but we are back. Another edition of Knicks Weekly where we recap the news, the rumors, the comings and goings of the orange and blue all-season edition or on-season, whatever you prefer. CP the Franchise, Alex Rotaros in the building. Tonight's episode, we're going to talk about who else? Jalen Brunson. And are the Knicks in trouble with this Brunson deal? We're going to talk about why this deal has yet to be finalized. Could Carmelo Anthony be on his way back to Madison Square Garden? And Summer League is tipping off this Friday, so we're going to kick it off with our Summer League preview. Tell you everything you need to know, some of the key storylines, schedule, all of that. So lock in. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. And let's get into it. Another edition of KnicksFanTV Live, presented by Manscaped. All right, Al, how you feeling, man? How was your holiday weekend, bro?
It was good, man. I was in New York for a little bit.
Nice.
Celebrated my mom and my sister's birthday. You know, had a little barbecue. Had Jamaican food, man.
There you go.
We had some oxtail. We had some jerk chicken.
Yeah.
Brought down some rum cake.
Okay.
You know. So
nice.
we had the whole festivities going on.
Nice.
You know what it is. How about yourself?
That's my kind of vibe, man. You already know, man. You don't know that's my kind of vibe, bro. So that sounded like a good one on me. Yeah, just caught up with the family, man. Caught up with the family and friends. You know, a couple pool parties and whatnot, and went out by the water, just hanging out here and there, man. Keeping it low key. I just came off of that 3-hour session on Sirius XM Free Agency Central, man. So, last week we went in on so much content between what we did with KnicksFanTV, what I was doing with SNY, and then what I was doing with Sirius XM. I had to take a little breather, man. So that's why Knicks Weekly is Wednesday. Should have really been Tuesday, but I needed an extra day, man.
Hey, man. Hard-working man over there. You were all over the place. I just kept getting the feed. I was like, oh, snap. CP's just busy. Woo.
Yeah, beast mode, man. But nevertheless, it's that time of year. So all in good fun. So either way, let's talk about our guy, Jalen Brunson, the prized acquisition of free agency. But, since free agency has the hype and the hoopla has kind of quieted down, you've had some time to kind of reflect on the acquisitions, Brunson, Hartenstein, Mitch coming back. I mean, how do you grade this thing so far?
Give it I'm gonna give it a B-. I think if you're looking from like a signing standpoint, they got their guy, so that's an A. But like when you look at everyone as a whole, like where this team's still gonna be, I still get this team as a play-in team. At best, just because even though the talent's good, even though you could say we're still waiting on where KD and Kyrie end up if they're not with the Brooklyn Nets anymore. So the East is all going to still get jumbled up talent wise. They're going to be competitive. I'm just, I'm just trying to maintain expectations. It's still a rebuilding team, underperformed last season. They were the 4th seed in a bubble-like environment. We're now back. This is going to be truly the first regular season after, post-COVID, where it's going to start on time. You're going to have full arenas, none of that nonsense that we had to deal with. So I'm ready to see what this team looks like. Like, we're going to have a point guard. I feel like everyone's going to perform well with Brunson being, the captain steering that wheel. But it's still, man, like it all depends on how our talent, like Quentin Grimes, RJ, Mitch, all these dudes have to take another level going up. You hope that Julius Randle gets back into what he did. Doesn't necessarily have to be that MIP dude, but is he going to be somewhere in the middle, right? So these are all those swirling factors that we're still unsure of. So that's where I'm going to put them right now as a playing team, because they do have talent. I still get the East. You still got to respect the Sixers. You got to respect the Bucks. You got to respect the Boston Celtics. Yeah. Those are the top 3 teams, in my opinion. Raptors are going to be solid. All right. Hawks are still going to be there. There's a lot of good teams in the East, all right? So it's still going to be competitive, so that's where I'm looking at the Knicks right now. So that's why I give it like a C+, B-, because you got your guys. It's going to be a competitive team, but it's just not over the top. It wasn't anything blockbuster, but it was still a solid offseason just to begin with.
No question. And I said it before this offseason started that this was going to be a singles and doubles type of offseason. Getting some base hits, minor improvements to the team that, you know, can hopefully have some long-lasting effects. And I looked at the Brunson deal, the Hartenstein deal, and I think both of these guys can help this team in a multitude of ways. Brunson being on the offensive side, Hartenstein giving a little bit defensively, giving a little bit offensively as well, because I think he's an underrated passer. So I think he'll bring a different dynamic from the center position that we haven't seen on this team thus far. But they can only take this team, to a certain extent, especially Brunson. Hartenstein's a backup center. Brunson alone is not going to get it done. Julius has to rebound. RJ has to continue to take another step, right? Averaged 20-5, 20-6 last season. Continues to improve. Can he get more efficient in his pull-ups? Let's see what happens. It's another area of emphasis again this year. Let's see what he and Drew Hanlon work up this year. I want to see another step from IQ, another step from Quentin Grimes. You know, the injury cut his season short. Want to see what he can do. Where will they go with Cam? You know, there's still an organizational disconnect with Cam. You roll the dice. You got rid of Kev, which you weren't going to bring back anyway. There was the conditional first-round pick from Charlotte that you gave up. Okay, so you rolled the dice there, but you brought in a kid that the coach didn't want to play. So there's organizational disconnect there, and I just have not seen that from many organizations. Like, if you're going to take that chance, there should be a plan, a gradual plan, if it needs to be, to get this kid into the rotation, because you're on a clock as to what his future looks like and how much money you'll have to allocate for him. So the Cam thing is still puzzling. That needs to be worked out. But again, if he does get on the court, you want to see him producing, you want to see him be healthy, so on and so forth. So to me, the success of this team is still going to be largely dependent on the two-headed monster, RJ Julius. Yes, Brunson to a tertiary degree. And the youth. Playing the youth. Getting them into that rotation. The Obi Julius thing is once again going to be a factor. No matter how you slice it.
You talked about there's two players on this team, right, that are really impacted by other guys, which is Cam Reddish, Obi Toppin. We already know about the Julius Randle, Obi Toppin situation. We've discussed it. We've had our qualms about dud pick, this, that, and the third. But when we look at Cam Reddish, right, I look at that second unit, and I want to see him play. I want to see him be in that second unit. But when you really break it down, you have Derrick Rose, you got Evan Fournier, because you and I, we both agreed on during the free agency episode that we want Grimes in that starting rotation. Yeah. So now you got Evan Fournier there, right? So it's now Evan Fournier, Derrick Rose, and Cam Reddish. Somehow that rotation, the way you look at it, those three guys are going to be impacted. Either you want Derrick Rose, Emmanuel Quickly, Cam Reddish, Obi Toppin, and Isaiah Hartenstein, or it's another rotation of either Emmanuel Quickly, you could say Evan Fournier, Cam Reddish, Obi Toppin, Isaiah Hartenstein, or are we going to see like something where, you know, because Tibbs likes his vets, is it Derrick Rose, Emmanuel Quickly, Evan Fournier, Obi Toppin, Isaiah Hartenstein? There's three ways this can plan out, and it's disgusting. I want to see Cam Reddish in there at all costs, because as you pointed out, you did trade a conditional first-round pick. You also got rid of Kevin Knox. That's not Kevin Knox isn't the issue. You didn't want to re-sign him, fine. But you gave up draft capital to bring in a kid so you can evaluate him, and he has the tangibles that we've been looking for at that position. A kid that can guard multiple positions. When he plays offensively, we've seen the sparks of talent. Does he still have to work on his game? Absolutely. But we've seen the sparks of talent. Now I want to see him get those reps so that way he can be better, be a contributor to this team. So we'll get that second unit. It's between him and Obi. These two guys got a mountain to climb. No question. In my opinion. Hopefully for Cam, in my opinion, it's a little bit easier because Randle, if you want to move him, you gotta improve his trade value, because it's at this point, I understand. Even though I'd like to see him move so that Obi can get into that starting rotation, you're going to, one, work his trade value back up, and two, you got to give him the leeway saying, all right, we got you a point guard. Let's see if you can actually play with the point guard. Yeah. Cam, you got to work it out. Like Fournier, you got to figure it out, man. You got to figure it out, man. It comes down to Fournier, Rose, and Cam Reddish. Those are the three guys, in my opinion, that really, depending on who gets moved or what happens to one of them, really shakes up the second unit.
You know, based on just, the feedback and the comments from the fans, whether it's Instagram, it's Twitter, it's doing the Begley show, the Q&As, a lot of fans just feel like they're just going to dump Fournier and Randle for nothing. And I just don't see that occurring. I think, not to say that these guys are untouchable, because I don't see it that way, but I don't think either guy gets moved in a panic just yet. You know, I think they'll get at least a half a season to see what's going on. And if this thing is still coming apart at the seams, then yeah, you know, maybe they look to reverse course. But I don't see them being in a panic to get rid of either one of these guys. Now, on the Brunson front, shout out Fred Katz of The Athletic. You know, it still hasn't been finalized. The deal has not been finalized as yet. And one of the reasons is because they're still trying to figure out if they're going to be negotiating and sign and trade with the Mavs, and how the cap is going to be used to bring in Brunson, to bring in Hartenstein. So the technical framework, the technical parameters of this deal are still being ironed out. Now, on that note, could the Knicks be in trouble on this Brunson deal? Because multiple reports are out that people around the league expect the Knicks to be fined in some sort of way for tampering. Remember back in game 1 of the first round of the West Series between the Jazz and the Mavs, Worldwide West, Julius, Allen, Houston showed up like the NWO. They was all in the front row, you know. So according to reports, according to Fred Katz of The Athletic, Cuban and his team wasn't too pleased with that. Obviously, the Knicks signing Rick Brunson to an assistant coaching gig. Mark Stein is reporting that the league is going to be looking into that as some sort of tampering. You have Leon Rose, his son, Sam Rose, being the day-to-day agent of Jalen Brunson, even though Aaron Mintz, who's Julius's agent, was the one who negotiated the contract. So all this chumminess, like I've been saying, is most likely going to be evaluated by the league. Because remember also, the Knicks cleared all the cap space by draft time, or damn near close, you know, a little bit after draft time, because they still traded Burks and Noel like the day before free agency kicked off. So all that is looking a little bit suspicious. Combine that with the fact that you had conflicting reports the day of free agency of whether or not the Mavs even were able to get an offer out to Brunson before he accepted the Knicks deal. So all of that is muddy in the waters right now. I would expect them to be docked, you know, maybe a second round pick. That's what the Bulls and the Heat were fined last year for the tampering with Lonzo Ball and Kyle Lowry, respectively. Maybe it comes down to a second round pick, or maybe if they're able to negotiate a sign and trade, you scratch my back, I scratch yours, it gets swept under the rug.
Yeah, I look at that and I'm like, I don't know. I feel like it's going to be interesting how they go about it. The league's going to go about investigating the tampering charges because of all the connections, right? Mm-hmm. You know, because all this family stuff, right? What do you consider work? What do you consider the correspondence? How far do you want to go into this thing? That's like where my mind is going at this point when trying to investigate for this tampering, because when we go back and we look at that, at how the Miami Heat and the Chicago Bulls were docked for tampering, right? They looked at the correspondence. Keep in mind, this is going to be a long process too. We're not going to get an answer if the Knicks are penalized for tampering until somewhere around December. That's when both the Heat and the Bulls were. It started somewhere between July and August, and we got the results in December. But that has pretty much been set as precedent for how the Knicks could be punished, which was for both the Bulls and the Heat. It was $10 million as a fine, both teams, and the second round pick. If that's the case to go get your guy. Fine. Yeah. I just find it very difficult to say, hey, was he communicating with his father? Was Leon Rose communicating with his son? Because you see all the overlap with who represents who and who's now working for who. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I just find this to be, I don't know how they're going to go about it, but I don't see why the league wants to even go in this direction on doing this, because let's be real. The league loves this type of stuff. They love the fact that Woj and Shams can report stuff before even the trade deadline. They get to keep the league active, and they get to keep like everything's on top of the mind. Like, I just don't see why they want to go for this. And this is probably why I'm saying like, oh, if you get caught, we're going to just do like a little slap on the wrist, which $10 million and a second round pick to a franchise is nothing.
Yeah. But we got a million second round picks anyway. You can have them.
Exactly.
They're gonna
like,
get traded next draft anyway.
Who cares? But like, I feel like for the league, they should be kind of like not that hell bent on this, just because. Think about it. Season is going to be after summer league, which is now in July. It's going to be off in August. You're going to have training camp back in September. Then you go into the regular season. That doesn't end with the playoffs and everything until June. You get the lottery in June, July. Like, it's all year round. They want the commotion. They love the drama. It keeps the league relevant. So I don't know, man. I find tampering to be a joke. I mean, look, we had other reports before outside of the Knicks being reported before that time period too. So are you going to go look at those teams? And it also with tampering, if to be chummy with Dallas and say doing a sign and trade, both Lowry and Lonzo were both sign and trades, and they still got docked for tampering. I guess the question is, if they do a sign and trade, will the punishment be lesser than?
Yeah.
But we won't know until the investigation's done.
Yeah, that's a good point. I thought those are great points. You can't prove it like that, man. Like, how are you really gonna prove it? The kid went to the team that his father's the coach of. His agent's father's the president of. I mean, he made his choice. He chose. You can't be sour grapes. And like, look, man, if people want to think that all these free agency deals are technically negotiated, by the time the moratorium is freed up, sorry, no chance.
That's what I'm saying.
No chance. Guys know where they're going from the time the season starts. They know where they're going in the summertime, and the deals are getting cut. So I mean, it's pretty ridiculous, man.
I mean, it's a joke, man. I mean, look. We can go back to when Magic Johnson, when he was running the Lakers, right? He got fined $500,000 for going on Jimmy Kimmel and giving the wink to Paul George, right? Yeah. Like, hey, man, like, come over to the Lakers. So it's like 500. Think about that. Think about that charge. He was on national TV, legit recruiting somebody, and he got docked $500,000, which is $500,000 to an NBA team. So when I hear this, when I think of tampering for like the NBA, unless you do something really serious, like unless you're saying, hey, first round picks are going to be taken away, like this is just what? Once again, it's just slap on the wrist. I don't get why the league wants to make a big deal out of it. And I feel like for Mark, it's more like the Dallas Mavericks being upset because they're losing their second best guy because they didn't give him, they could have offered him a $55 million 4-year, $55 million contract extension the beginning of last season. They didn't offer him extension. There was no discussions about it up until the trade deadline. Then he was offered something post-trade deadline. Why? Because they were thinking about trading him, including him into a package. Now they're in the situation where they're losing him for nothing. That's the fear. What Knicks fans had were fear of Mitchell Robinson just leaving, going somewhere for nothing. Mm-hmm. That's what the Mavericks are actually going through right now. So they're I feel like it's just Cuban being sore that he's losing. And this will be the second time the Mavericks would lose to the Knicks because, my opinion, they lost on the KP trade. KP is not on the Mavericks anymore. Yeah. And now you lose that. Now you're losing Brunson for nothing. So this is just Dallas not wanting to lose to the Knicks twice.
True story. And this is why it's a tricky situation, right? Some people say, well, we may not have. Why do we have to engage in a sign and trade? We don't have to give them anything. We can probably, based on how we maneuver the cap, just sign Brunson outright. Maybe they want to throw Dallas a bone. You never know when you might need to bring them to the table down the road in the future on a sign and trade or a three-team trade, 4-team trade. You want to try to keep the relationship, it doesn't necessarily have to be all chummy and buddy, but you want to keep it cordial at the end of the day because you just never know when you might need a favor. I mean, Ian Begley, shout out our guy Ian Begley's pointed to the fact that when the Knicks were able to send Burks and Noel to Detroit. Mm-hmm. Scott Perry coming from Detroit, his relationship with the leadership there, Ian Begley pointed to that as a possible factor in being able to do that, getting off a salary dump in that light. So those relationships, those things that you do, they can come back and either help you in the long run or hurt you in the long run. So you just never know.
Facts. And that shout out to Scott Perry for being like a key, we don't know for sure, but him and his relationship with Troy Weaver and being part of Detroit's front office for a bit of time. Even Walt Perrin was with Detroit for a bit of time too. So who knows? Maybe he still has relationships there. All that plays a factor in working in this league. And to your point, when it comes to like Dallas and doing a sign and trade, I think about Evan Fournier, right? If you want to open up minutes for Cam Reddish, this is a favor that you can do that, we can, that the Mavericks and Knicks can kind of work out where like you don't lose Brunson for nothing. You add a shooter because you're playing a spread out offense. You get a shooter in Evan Fournier, solid dude to have off the bench, a guy who could play wall for Luka. So why not throw them a bone that way? It kind of helps out both teams, where also getting Brunson on our books through a sign and trade, right? Because I'm pretty sure the cap works that instead of like using the hard cap mechanism of the NBA, because you'd be traded to us, it then works into the soft cap exception rules.
So
I think that's how that works.
So to everybody in the chat, once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Knicks Weekly presented by Manscaped. CP the franchise, Alex Rotaros in the building. If you guys are new in the chat, leave us a hashtag new. We'll shout you guys out. We got a nice crowd going in the chat. The chat is rolling tonight. We have our fan poll up. What is the grade of the Knicks free agent signings so far? And so far, we're getting a B grade right now, Al. 66% in the chat. Give the Knicks offseason a B grade. So I'd say, mostly favorable in that regard. Mostly favorable in that regard. I think people had realistic expectations for the most part. Some people are still looking for the home run this year, but I think a lot of people have realistic expectations, and so they're grading the offseason a B. Jay from East New York says, are we doing Discord calls? We always take calls. Well, for the most part, we take calls. The Discord is open. The phone lines are up, 657-383-1509. We're going to get through most of the program and then save the calls for the end. So let's keep it rolling. Also on the Brunson front, this was a article from The Athletic. Shout out to our guy, Fred Katz, friend of the program. He did a collab with Tim Cato, who covers the Mavs for The Athletic. Fred Katz covers the Knicks. Tim Cato covers the Mavs, and they went on Brunson. Some interesting numbers on Brunson with or without Luka Doncic. Without Doncic, his points per game went up 8 points, went from 14 with Luka on to 22. Obviously, with Luka off, more offense needed to go through Brunson, but he delivered 22 and 7 without Luka Doncic compared to 13, 14, and 3. And I believe this was in 18 games. These are in 18 games. And this is per 36 averages with Luka on and Luka off. So obviously the field goals went up. Field goal attempts went up. Field goal percentages roughly the same. Now the 3-point percentages was where it was a bit glaring, because with Luka Doncic, Brunson was able to shoot 42% from 3 per 36, and without, just 32. And what they were saying, what they gleaned from this article was that, that 42% accounted for a lot of catch and shoot opportunities. Whereas when he didn't have Luka out there, there were a lot of pull-ups, and Brunson only averaged, one pull-up per game, one pull-up 3 per game, of the 3. So I think overall, he's going to need to shoot more threes on this team. There's no question. RJ shot 34% from 3. Julius shot 30. Maybe you will start with Fournier in that lineup, who will give you a healthy dosage and a nice percentage. He'll be efficient there. But Brunson's going to have to let it fly. He's going to have to up that from 3 to maybe 5, 6. He's going to be relied upon to shoot the 3. Shot it from the corners very well last season with Dallas, and that's an area that Tibbs likes to emphasize on the court. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how they get him some 3-point opportunities going into next season.
For sure. I think the thing with Brunson, though, even though he's going to need to put up a lot more threes, I agree with you 100%. The thing that's going to be most impactful, and we said this on the last show, is using that pick and roll, man. Honestly, the pick and roll hasn't been utilized as much on the Knicks as it probably should have been. And him working with Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson, those are the ways I'm looking for him to really unlock his game. He was in the 90th percentile this past season. He ran it over 30% in frequency when it came to the pick and roll. I think he can still play his game. Yes, he'll have to take more 3-point shots, but as long as he plays his game and figures out it takes the right shots, it's timely shots. You don't need to I don't need to see a guy just putting up shots for the sake of putting up shots to just try to open floor space, because if you're clanking them, you're not helping anybody. But as long as he's playing his game and putting the healthy amount of 3-point shots at the right crucial time, it's all that matters.
Yeah. Yeah, no question. And I think it's RJ and Julius are going to, especially Julius, he's gonna need to make quick decisions, make good decisions. Can he do that going into what season is this? Going into his 8th season? I mean, he might be who he is. He is who he is at this point, but you hope he improves a little bit on his decision making, make those quick decisions, make the defense bend, and get some rotations around. And hopefully you find Brunson on the weak side or you find Fournier on the weak side and they can knock down some shots, some catch and shoots, threes, things of that nature to really open things up on the offense. I think, there's a lot of questions where how effective will he be given that, he won't have the spacing that he once had with Dallas, because they're more 5 out. They spread you out a little bit. And obviously with Mitch in there, he's going to be clogging up the paint, waiting on offensive rebounds. He may not have the efficiency that he had with Dallas, but I still think he's crafty enough and good enough from the mid-range that he'll still have his opportunities to score without having to, always attack the basket.
Yeah, I think he'll be fine with the Knicks. It's just going to be a different offense that we're going to be watching. I think where it comes like what I said, it comes down to him just playing his game, right? And also just RJ and Julius taking that next step forward. I mean, Brunson's not the guy that you can't rely on Jalen Brunson to win you every single game night in and night out. You're going to need the contribution from mostly RJ and Julius to be leading this team forward. So if RJ takes that next step, does RJ add a mid-range jumper? Is he able to get back to shooting close to what he did 2 seasons ago, being a sniper about or close to like 40% from 3? Does Julius get back to being close to a 40% 3-point shooter? Because it doesn't matter what Brunson is doing if the other 2 guys aren't able to contribute in an efficient and effective way. So that's where I say, Brunson, play your game. The other 2 guys got to work. But you brought up Evan Fournier in the rotation. I hope it's not Evan Fournier in the rotation because defensively, I think Tibbs going to be pulling out whatever's left on top of his head, and it's just, we saw last season with Kemba and Fournier, did not work. Fournier off a bench, I think on the second unit you can add a little bit more offense. Then you can live with more offense than defense for your second unit. First unit, you're gonna need some defense with the guys that we have right now, just because we also don't know where Julius is going to be, where RJ is going to be, where Mitch is going to be. There's just a lot of question marks, man. Like we know what they can be baseline from this past season, but there's a lot of question marks to what can they be this season to take this team forward.
Yeah, no question about it, man. No question about it. So again, we'll see where this Brunson saga ends. Will there be some tampering charges? What the final deal will look like? Will there be any outgoing pieces from the Knicks? Do they free up any additional cap? All of those are still up in the air right now, so we'll see if we get some clarity over the next week or so. On the next story, so this was interesting. On one of the shows I did on SNY last week with Ian Begley, we talked about, I think someone in the audience was asking about Melo and a potential return. Melo right now has no home, man. He's not in LA right now. He was out in the Hamptons at Michael Rubin's white party. Nobody sent me an invitation. Everybody was there. Quickly was there. Spider Mitchell was there. Hove was there. Steve Stow, all these guys. Jason Tatum, Embiid. Everybody was there. Nobody sent the franchise an invitation. Right in my backyard. It's right in the Hamptons. You know what I'm saying? Now, nobody let us know. Well, maybe next year. You know what I'm saying? Maybe next year.
Got the white shirt.
Yeah, I was ready to go. I was ready to go. You know what I'm saying? Ready to roll. So yeah, that went down over the weekend in the Hamptons. But either way, back on the Melo topic, here is what Ian Begley had to say on a potential Melo return. Let's hear from Ian.
I'm sorry, man. Can I jump in on Melo for 1 second?
Yeah.
My understanding, at least, going back, more than a year now, was that the idea that if Carmelo, wanted to come back, and especially wanted to have, his final year in the NBA here, my understanding was that was on the table, and I haven't heard anything about it being off the table. So I think if Carmelo wants it, and it could be like a final season, I think that has been on the table. But I don't know what he wants to do. And maybe the Knicks had changed their mind recently, but I know that had been kind of talked about broadly.
You can't make hit.
All right, so YouTube threw in they threw in an ad there. So, but that was the gist of it anyway. But I was surprised to hear that. So according to Ian, the offer's on the table. We'll leave the light on for you, is what Leon and Dolan were saying. Now, to add on top of that, before we get to your reactions, shout out our guy Triple M doing some sleuthing work on the interwebs. Our guy Triple M was after it. Over the weekend, I believe, one James Dolan was seen leaving Lavo Ristorante, a lavish Italian restaurant in L.A. They got Lavo in New York. They got Lavo in L.A. And as soon as Dolan left, Carmelo left the same restaurant. So TMZ caught the exchange, and let's see what they had to say here. Shout out Triple M.
Excuse me.
Mr. Dolan, are you gonna get KD and Kyrie Irving for your team?
I'm not sure what you said, but have a good night.
How about Carmelo?
Say hello to him.
What's up, Melo? How you doing, man? Are you gonna go back to the Knicks? Are you gonna go back to the Knicks, Carmelo? What do you think about Luka Jokic getting the max super contract, breaking?
Yeah,
they deserve it. He deserve it. Good seeing you, man.
All right, so I don't know. Did my man say Luka? Did he say Luka Jokic?
I have no idea what who.
He said.
Player, man.
How do you feel about Luka Jokic getting the max contract? But anyway. So Dolan comes out. He's like, man, I don't even know what you're talking about. But say what up to Melo. Then Melo comes out. What do you make of that, bro?
Well, what if I told you this? That my sister texted me saying that she saw Melo in Westchester hooping.
Whoa.
In one of the gyms.
Whoa.
That was a few weeks ago.
Okay.
What if I told you that?
I mean, based on our sleuth work here, I think we're putting the pieces of the puzzle together, man.
Hey, man, I honestly, at this point, it seems like I would be happy to have Melo back in the orange and blue. All right. He was done wrong under the Phil Jackson era. Give this man his if he's looking to retire, get out of here, and call it done in the NBA. Make it a Knick, man. Let him be a Knick on the last year that he's in the NBA. But my question for you though, like if the Knicks do get Melo, right? Like how's that impact like Obi and everybody else on the team?
Which is why, bro, I said on the Begley show, and I didn't play my clip, but I'll just say it right now. I'm not with it. I am not with it, man. And you know what I'm gonna say to that, bro? We don't need that. And I'm the biggest Melo fan there is. Maybe of all time. All right? Maybe of all time. I've defended this guy to all the Melo haters during his tenure here. We don't need that, bro. And that's what I said on the Begley show. We don't need the distraction. We don't need another kid's playing time being cut because Melo's got to get in and he's got to get his shots off. And, listen, he had his time. One of the best scorers to ever play. Top 75 NBA. Thought LeBron did him dirty by not bringing him on to the Lakers during the bubble. Should have won a chip already. He needs to continue ring chasing. Forget about us. We don't need that. When he wants to come back on a one-day retirement thing, we'll do that. I'll come through. I'll come to the Garden for it. We'll celebrate everything. If they want to retire his jersey, I'll be fine with it. We don't need him on this team right now. There's no point. Absolutely no point. No point.
I get all that. I think the question really is like, what's happening to Julius? What's happening to Obi before you bring Melo back? It's because as you said, I don't see Melo being done. Like he was playing in LA. He was getting some good minutes in LA. It's not like he's going to go from getting solid minutes to no minutes.
But why isn't he there right now? Right now, because look at this. Another piece to the puzzle. One Troy Brown Jr. was signed with the Lakers, and guess what number they gave him?
7.
Number 7. Thanks, LeBron. So much for respect by Rob Pelinka, Genie Bus, LeBron James. Number 7 is already off the rack. Troy Brown got Melo's number. That's what they think about him.
So you think this is a done deal where he's coming back to New York, or do you think he's going somewhere else?
I hope not, man. I don't know. I hope not. I really hope not. If there was a team I would like to see Melo go to, Celtics would have been nice, but they just picked up Gallinari, and I thought they had a good offseason picking up Gallinari, and they got Brogdon.
Mm-hmm.
The Hawks?
Oh,
I would throw up. I wouldn't like that, man. I wouldn't like that.
Portland? Does he go back to Portland?
They're not going anywhere, though. He needs to go somewhere with a legit shot. Maybe Phoenix.
Phoenix.
Once they get KD.
What do you think about Philly?
I'd like that. I'd like that. 4 to 5 Philly bench. Mm-hmm. I think Phoenix, once they get KD and empty out their depth, maybe they throw Melo off the bench. Go get a ring. Don't worry about us. We'll be all right, man. We're dealing with our own stuff right now. We don't need you blocking Obi's minutes. We don't need you, blocking all these wing minutes. We already got a lot. We just talked about the logjam here. You already know he ain't playing no defense. So like I said, I'm all for the sentiments, the feel good, this, that, and the third. I'm not on board with it. I'm out. Shark Tank, I'm out. Out of here.
Cuban was also out on Brunson apparently, but that's another story. So I hear you. I'm all for the sentimental feel for Melo coming back to New York. Obviously the playing time.
Yeah.
I think it's just better for him. Like I agree with you. It should go for ring chasing. But if you're telling me that in a world where somehow minutes open up at the 4, bring me Melo.
Sure.
Bring me Melo.
Sure.
Bring me Melo.
Somebody in the chat said Clippers. That'd be decent. That'd be decent.
Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be good.
Clippers always have that depth. I think that
John
would be
Wall,
a decent
Kawhi, PG-13.
Yeah.
You can solidify that bench now with Carmelo.
Yeah.
Get some scoring off the bench. That'd be dope.
That would be interesting. I mean, maybe even Dallas. I think Dallas could use some.
All
depth.
right, now we're okay. I'm not helping out Dallas anymore. All right, I know they're Knicks West, but no, I'm done.
Yeah,
with
for
that.
real. So that's that on Melo. TM, let's throw a poll in the chat. See what the people got to say in regards to Melo. And once again, salute to everybody in the chat. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Knicks Weekly presented by Manscaped. CP the franchise, Alex Rotaros. We are just recapping the news, the rumors, the comings and goings with the orange and blue this week. We were talking about Jalen Brunson, talking about a potential Carmelo return, and we're going to get into our Summer League discussion in a little bit and take some phone calls, man. Like I said, if you guys are new in the chat, leave us a hashtag new. We'll shout you guys out. And remember, this show's presented by Manscaped, fellas. #1 men's grooming tool below the waist. Do not be out there caught lacking. We're already knee deep in the summertime. I hope you're taking care of business right now. It's a lot of competition out there. All the ladies out there, they're being very selective, fellas. So sometimes you're trying to find that competitive advantage. I'm trying to help you out, Chief. Take care of the family jewels with the #1 men's grooming tool below the waist. This is the Lawnmower 4.0. Game changer, skin safe technology. It's got the LED spotlight, man. My battery ran out, so I can't even turn it on. But if you want to do it in the dark, you could do it in the dark. It's waterproof. Great battery life. I mean, my battery just went out, but I didn't even charge this thing when they sent it to me. I didn't even have to charge it. And it was holding me down for the last month. So it's definitely great on battery life. And it's a great tool, man. Go to manscaped.com, promo code KFTV for 20% off plus free shipping. Friends of the program, they take care of us, they hold us down, always send us new products, the body wash, the shampoo. Shout out our guys, no testimonials. No testimonials. Yeah. My guy CP the artist in the chat, I think he's a bit jealous. Yeah, I got the purple joint. This is special edition, pal. All right? You can't get these. This is exclusive. Official tissue. All right? That was for Testicular Cancer Awareness Month. My guys at Manscaped blessed me with the purple joint. I was supposed to give one away. I do have an extra one. I will give away, not my personal, just a brand new one, brand new in the box. So we'll give one away one of these days to a lucky fan. So shout out to Manscaped once again for the support. Now on to Summer League, Al. So Summer League starting up Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Knicks will be starting off against. Let me just pull up my schedule here. I believe it's the Golden State Warriors. It is the Golden State Warriors. Knicks will start off against the Golden State Warriors on Friday, the 8th. Then they'll be taking on the Chicago Bulls on the 10th, the Portland Trail Blazers on the 11th, and the Orlando Magic on the 14th. That'll be the 4-game tilt before the playoffs start, and we'll see if they make it. Once again, Daisuke Yashimoto will be coaching the squad. And we have some returns, sophomore returns. We have Quentin Grimes. We have Miles McBride, Jericho Sims coming back. You have the second-round pick, Keels, Trevor Keels. You have G. Montero. You have Farron Hunt, who's on the two-way. So a lot of storylines, man. The one I'll start with, to me, the most important for me is Quentin Grimes. And that's going to be one of the most important ones for me because, as I said, Al, he, the dislocated kneecap really derailed his rookie season. And I thought he had a lot of bright spots. The 27-point game at the Garden against the Milwaukee Bucks, had a couple of high teens games. Just a solid 3-and-D player. I thought he was just a plug-and-play guy for this rotation. Finished a couple of games. The Cleveland game was one that I remember where helped the Knicks come back between the third quarter and the fourth quarter. It was really a propelling force for them on both sides of the ball. I loved how Grimes had approached the game and really fit in with his team seamlessly. And again, when you factor in the Brunson acquisition, the Fournier's defensive woes, I think Grimes is an opportunity. I think he's in the rotation. I think based on how Tibbs spoke so highly of him last season, I don't think there's any chance Quentin Grimes is out of that rotation. I don't think Cam's taking his spot. I think Cam is on an upward battle to take Grimes' minutes. Now the question is, can Grimes ascend into the starting lineup? That'll be left to be seen. But I think how he approaches Summer League will be give him some momentum into training camp, the preseason, and so on.
Yeah, I agree with you on Cam Reddish. Not Cam. Quentin Grimes. Woo! Quentin Grimes. Think about guys who need repetitions. But I'm gonna go with Jericho Sims because I was thinking Deuce McBride too, because both of them are two guys that I'm gonna like. These are two guys who is really important for getting a lot of repetitions.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Jericho Sims because he is the third center in the depth chart. We do know Mitchell Robinson does get injured pretty easily. Right. So, Isaiah Hartenstein might have to slot up into being the starting center. And then you have Jericho Sims slot into being the second, or maybe he does become a starting center when Mitch is out. But he's going to need those repetitions because he's got to be ready for this upcoming season because Mitch is going to miss some time. Yeah. He's going to need as much repetitions. He's still not a finished product as a player. You see that he can set solid screens. He's a solid defensive rebounder. But you want to see him be a little bit more aggressive on offense. You want to see him expand his game outside of just being in the dunker spot. You want to see him have being able to flip the ball in a little bit more from 2-3 feet out. Maybe even develop a slight mid-range game. So for Jericho Sims, it's going to be very important. And since he is the center, as the point guard is the quarterback of the offense, the center is the quarterback of the defense. So him understanding Tom Thibodeau's defensive system is very important because Mitch will miss time. All right. It's just going to happen. Last season, Mitch played, I think, close to all the games except for towards the end of the season. Yeah. Season before that, he has missed time. Sims is going to need to be ready to be time. He's got to be ready to play. I would say Deuce McBride is the second one because the point guard situation is just backlogged. You got Brunson, you got Derrick Rose, you got Emmanuel Quickly. So McBride's ability to get on the court this is going to be it. This is going to be it for him. We're getting the repetitions and just getting and understanding how to play point guard. So he's got to make the most of it. But I'm going to go with Jericho Sims overall.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think Sims is obviously going to be locked in at the third string for now, right? But as you said, you could potentially, knock on wood, you don't. But with Mitch's history, maybe he misses a game with a sprained ankle or jammed up big toe. Who knows? With a big man like that, who's built like that, he's susceptible, and so you have to kind of pencil that in. Now, where we saw his growth last year as a player was certainly number one on the defensive end, because I thought he started the year off just kind of trying to figure things out and wanting to see the game was moving a bit too fast for him. You saw Tibbs was chewing him out at certain opportunities, but as the season progressed, as he got more playing time, he really solidified that backup role after the trade deadline. Noel was out, trade deadline came, and he was it. The backup spot was his. And it just seemed like from that point, he really settled down defensively, started, having some more touch around the rim offensively. So a nice little jump hook, some touch around the rim, which was encouraging. He was much more aggressive in terms of getting rebounds, putting it back up, so on and so forth. And then again, I spoke about this on the Begley show, that Nets game when KD was going off at the end of the season, and you had Sims playing some critical crunch time minutes defensively, and they would have Sims out there blitzing the pick and roll, sell out blitz in the pick and roll, running back to recover to get some rim protection. He really showed some versatility in that regard, and I thought that was very impressive and showed a lot in terms of his growth and maturity. So I think Summer League, I want to see how do they expand that? Will their developmental plan for Sims be on display? Do they go to him, throw him some entry passes and see if he could go out and make something for himself? Do they run more pick and rolls for him to see how he responds? Will he continue to be aggressive coming off of offensive rebounding? Obviously, we know the vertical spacing, he's going to jump through the gym and break the backboard, so we know that'll be there. But I want to see, are there other wrinkles to his game that they're going to have him work on? For McBride, I think he's going to be on the outside in, looking in, unfortunately. The guard rotation is just too jammed up right now. You got Brunson, you got IQ, you got Rose, and every other two guard you can imagine. So I don't think McBride is going to get many minutes. But from a G League perspective, you want to see his continued development as a playmaker, as a passer, out of the pick and roll. We know his pull-ups were there. He can knock down a three-point shot. I just want to see how he continues to grow as a playmaker, running the offense. Yes, he put up his numbers, killer numbers in the G League, but let's see how he continues through Summer League on. It's just unfortunate that for right now, he's going to be on the outside looking in, but anything's possible. Injuries happen, lackluster play happen. You just never know. So he'll certainly have to be ready. So we talk Grimes, McBride, Sims. Now remember, Sims and Farron Hunt have the two-ways right now. Farron Hunt picked up the two-way at the end of last season. Sims had it the whole year. Now there was talk by Ian Begley that Sims was going to potentially get a regular roster spot. So that means the second two-way could be open. Now, who gets that? I think G. Montero is a candidate. I think this guy's a sleeper pick. What happened was many of the draft experts penciled him in for a late first, second round pick. He ended up injuring himself early in the Chicago Combine, couldn't participate in any scrimmages, and they felt like that really dropped his stock. G. Montero picked up the game at 10 years old, came up through the Dominican Republic, played a lot through a lot of overseas leagues, Spanish League, FIBA tournaments, Tournament of the Americas, so on and so forth. Landed with Overtime Elite and made his name there. So I think G. Montero could be a sleeper, man. A lot of the draft scouts like his playmaking potential, streaky shooter, but has some good vision. And so I think this is my guy to watch for as a potential two-way contract, man. Is G Montero.
For sure. And especially on what you talked about when it comes to his playmaking. I mean, the Knicks need as many playmakers as they can. Not saying that he's going to get any playmaking time or any playing time, I should say, with the big league. But if the Knicks can develop people through their G League, as you know, we have Rokas still playing internationally, just have a lot of irons in the fire, right? You want to make sure that you have people coming up through your system, make sure that in case of anything, you still have talent on this roster, whether or not they get to play with the big league. Still, at some point, maybe you can sign them to the actual contract. You can move them down the road, have them as trade assets. But Montero, absolutely. I think it'll be interesting watching him, seeing if him and Deuce McBride are going to be sharing the court together. Because if you want to pencil in Montero is going to be a point guard. Do you want to pencil in Deuce McBride as a point guard? Do you want to give him that capability of being a combo guard, being able to play on and off ball, which we saw last season during summer league with Emmanuel Quickly, where he was playing on and off ball. They were kind of taking turns, initiating the offense and so forth. I'm looking to see if the same is going to apply to these two, because Montero, he played well in the overtime elite league, 42.5% field goal percentage, 30% from three. Averaged about 4.5 assists and 5 rebounds per game with 18 points. Not bad. Overtime is still an up and coming league, so it's really hard to gauge like what type of talent they have down there.
Right.
But the one thing that everyone's talked about is his playmaking. Even our own Jeffrey Campbell, shout out to KnicksFanTV.com. He even said that his playmaking, that's probably his ability to navigate tight spaces and find the passing lane. That's what he's known to do. So we'll see if he can do that, take it to another level in the G League. And let's see if he can actually improve his game, and maybe, who knows? We'll see what happens.
We'll see. This is my sleeper pick for a two-way contract. We'll see what he does against better competition. Obviously, overtime elite, not the greatest, but we'll see what happens. Certainly has shown some flashes. You have Trevor Keels, the second-round pick that they picked up from Duke. Obviously, we'll get to see his defensive prowess on display, but let's see what type of offense he has out there. He's a guy that's going to get you a lot of dribble penetration. Let's see if he can get some pull-ups in there out of the mid-range from three. See how that goes. When I was watching him at Duke, I didn't see a lot of that out of Keels. So let's see if they have him working on that in Summer League. And who knows, maybe he picks up a two-way on the way. Well, at the very least, I think he'll be on the G League squad. And then you have Farron Hunt, as I said, who picked up the two-way late last season. Obviously, they see something in him. He was averaging 18 and 8 in the G League, undrafted out of SMU. Nice athletic, rangy wing. So we'll see what Farron Hunt has on display over the summer, and if he keeps his two-way or which way they move with him.
What are your predictions for this Knicks Summer League team? What's your win-loss record for? Yeah.
Well, I tell you, if they end up seeing OKC, they're gonna lose, man. I'm kind of jealous
OKC
right
has
now,
his
man.
actual roster out there, minus SGA and Lou Dort.
Hey, man, that OKC team is looking kind of filthy. I know Summer League. First rule of Summer League is it's only Summer League, but then we overreact. Chet is looking beastly. They got Jalen Williams out there. He's hooping. Mm-hmm. My guy Trey Mann, he finished the season so well. He was like, I don't even need Summer League, fam. I'm going to just go out there and get buckets. So Trey Mann didn't even play. You got Josh Giddey wheeling and dealing out there. It's gonna be an interesting team, man. It's going to be a very interesting team. But for the Knicks, I'm going 2-2.
2-2?
Yeah. I think we go 2-2. I think we go 2-2. That's what
I'm going 3. I'm going 3-1. I'm pretty optimistic.
Let me see what happens when I get out there. You know what I'm saying? I'll be out there in Vegas. I'm gonna be at the games on the 11th and the 14th. I gotta see in person how we looking. We'll get an idea on Friday, and go from there.
It's all good. You'll watch one game. You'll jump out the window. You'll say pull out the 50 burger, and then you're all good.
Yeah,
it's all good.
That's it, man. We'll overreact to everything. So yeah, I'll keep it conservative and go 2-2. We're definitely looking forward to seeing, especially Grimes and Bride Sims, seeing how they progress in year 2. So let's see how that goes. So to everybody in the chat, once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Knicks Weekly presented by Manscaped. CP the franchise, Alex Rotaros on the ones and twos. We're going to load up the phones right now. I see Obi-Wan Jabroni on the Discord. So when you're ready there, just be ready. But let me kick it off with Dan from New Jersey. Dan, how you feeling?
Que lo que, wah.
Dan, how you feeling, bro?
Oh, I feel good, man. I feel good. Can't wait to get Summer League started. I just wanted to touch on a couple points. First of all, the only reason I'm okay with Melo being here is if Julius isn't here. Julius isn't here, Carmelo can come and play 20 minutes a game. I would love to have him.
Okay.
But if that's not the case and Julius is still here, I'm sorry, man. We're already pretty, tightly wound up on this as it is. But listen, man, this kid, Gene Montero, man, I know where his neighborhood's at. He's from Villa Juana, man. The kids over there, they grew up in the gutter. If you know about people that play in basketball in DR, they don't take the ball back, man. They're tough. They got to get their rebounding game up from an early age. A ball comes up the backboard, you just tap that right back in, man. There's no taking back over there. It's at that point you got to have heart in order to win games. You go to DR, try to play pickup, you can't slack, man. You're going to be sweating by the end of the day. Those kids play hard. I see that in this game. You wouldn't think that a 6'3" point guard would but man, he follows his shot. He comes from that background. He's very flashy, very good passer. I hope he has some upside and can get some minutes in the NBA. I want to be realistic. But I would really love to see somebody that's like that from El Barrio to just come in and thrive in the NBA, or at least carve out a role. So I'm pretty excited about that, but I'm also keeping my expectations realistic.
Okay. Good to hear from you, man. Good call. Gave some nice background on G Montero, man. Hope it works out for him. For sure. Obviously, that would be a great story. So salute to Dan for dropping that tidbit on us. We got 2,000 plus in the chat, people. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Let's get those likes up. Set up the YouTube algorithm, man. Let them know number one show for the fans by the fans is on and popping, man. KnicksFanTV. Welcome to all new viewers, all our regulars. I see the chat is rolling. So let's keep it going. TM says he's unable to close the poll and add a new one. Okay, all right. So let me end this one. Try it now, TM. So I was able to end it. Try it now. We'll throw the Melo one up there, see what the people got to say. Okay, to the Discord we go. Obi-Wan Jabroni, you up next. Obi, are you there? Man, it's not even ready for the big show, Al. Look at that. Damn
Gotta
shame.
be ready.
Be ready. I think I just see muted his mic. Obi, are you there? All right, we gave him too much time. Shot clock's up. All right, man. See you later. All right, we're going to load up K Brooklyn 42. People, you got to be ready for your debut. Unmute your mic. No speakerphone. Make sure you're not in the closet. Just make sure you're in a good place to talk, man. All right? Let's go to JJ from Brooklyn. JJ, what's going on?
Yo, CP Alex. What's good, my guys? How you guys doing, man? What's going on?
How you feeling?
Chilling. Doing good, man. A couple points. Real quick. First, with the defense, I'm really worried. I really hope that Tibbs will start Grimes because, with Fournier and Brunson out there and RJ, in my opinion, didn't have a good season defensively. So I just don't think that's going to work at all. And then if you do put Grimes in for Fournier, it's not like you're losing shooting. Grimes is probably our second best shooter after Fournier. I just don't think that trio, who are we going to stop?
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I like getting Brunson. I really do. But I don't think it's a great fit on either end of the floor. I just don't with this personnel. I just think it's going to be a bit clunky.
Yeah.
And like you guys were saying, like everyone's saying, I worry about the spacing. With Dallas, they got 3 and D wings. They got bigs who stretch the floor. So I just think Brunson's going to struggle a little bit. He's been great at the hoop for his career. But here with Mitch in the lane all the time and Randle and RJ, I just think it's going to be a little clogged. I just hope he could continue to just finish like he has, throughout his career. And then my last point is I'm just concerned, man. I just think we're going to end up being in kind of no man's land for a few years. I think right now, people say, oh, it's hard to get out from under tanking every year and getting the top picks, but I think it's just as hard to get out from under purgatory. I really do. Like with this roster, your Randalls, your Barretts, your Fourniers, your Brunsons, I just think this is what we might be for the next 3-4 years, just fighting for a play-in, getting the 12th pick, maybe not even making the playoffs, or if we do, a gentleman's sweep. Like, what's the end game in that? Like, when I see OKC, what they have, the young core
is packaging up those picks and some players and getting to somebody really there. That's the end game. Who that is, time will tell.
Right.
You know, but that's the end game.
But it's just like, right, I hear you. But a lot of these picks we have are heavily protected. So it's like, are we getting a star with heavily protected picks?
Well, you still got your own, too. You know, you still got your own.
We got our
You're
own.
going to put those in there as well. So, yeah, I hear you. Listen, I hear you. I think the concerns.
OKC and these teams.
No, listen, I hear you. And OKC looks great. They're not guaranteed anything either. You just got to wait and see, man. You just got to wait and see. I think the concerns are valid, but you just got to wait and see, Al.
Yeah, I mean, I get though, like, I get the frustration, especially when it comes to like wondering about the Knicks trading for a star, because that's why Leon Rose, Worldwide West, and all those guys were brought in here. And, you know, we just saw Rudy Gobert get traded, you know, for a haul. And now if you're thinking about
traded.
Yeah, if you're thinking about Donovan Mitchell coming to the Knicks, you know, that trade package for Rudy Gobert kind of set the bar.
Yeah.
I mean, we already saw DeJounte Murray get unprotected first round picks. It was 2 of those. Now it was like 4 for Rudy Gobert. So now, and it's like
damn near 5 if you factor in the Walker Kessler.
Yeah.
They just picked.
True. And then you think about, what does that mean for Donovan Mitchell? And what does that mean for everybody else in the league? Because now everyone's going to look at it and be like, oh, well, my superstar, you know, what's Devin Booker worth? He was just in the finals.
Yeah.
Donovan Mitchell hasn't even been in there. So that trade just set the mark for the league of like, right now, what is it going to do? And this is where like, even I was like questionable about like all the protections on the picks. Yeah, sure. The Knicks got their own picks, but the Knicks aren't going to do that. And hopefully the Knicks don't do that, because we're not even close to competing. Because if we do give up those picks, something in my heart just tells me more likely than not, they're going to be lottery picks, and we're just giving up lottery picks.
Yeah.
And because the Knicks are just not there yet. So I get the frustration. I get the question of like, where's this franchise going? But just patience. I know OKC, you talked about it. OKC looks nice with all their young guys, but they've been having young guys for so long now, man.
So is Minnesota.
Sacramento's been a perennial lottery team.
Right. Neither path is guaranteed, man. You need a lot of luck. Look, Minnesota's been a perennial lottery team as well, right? And now this GM has decided, you know what? Let's take a chance on something here. Instead of continuing to go that path, let's make a trade for a defensive game changer. Now, to me, the way I graded this trade, it's not the player that I have an issue with, because I think he will help Minnesota. Obviously, he's going to help them solidify their defense, the rim protection, the rebounding. All that he brings is going to help that team. Maybe he gives them a little bit of toughness. Who knows? Because you just never know with Towns. But I felt like it was a rush move, and it was too early in their build to do it. Because I still feel like some of those premium picks that they gave away should have been used to add more talent to their lineup and more depth to their roster. Because now you go in and you go get a Gobert. I don't think they've established a window just yet. Like, I don't think Anthony Edwards has really established himself as being like the leader of this T-Wolves offense just yet. He's getting there. And last year he took a step. Rookie year was there. The next year he took a step. He's been progressing, but I think they made a rush move. And I think it's going to be hard for them to build after they get Gobert in there. So let's see.
It really is like an all-in move on Anthony Edwards. You got to hope that Anthony Edwards becomes that, like, he will be that guy. What is he, like 21? Like, you're hoping that within the next 2 years under this Gobert contract that he's going to be somebody at 23.
Right.
And most guys, like we just saw Giannis at 26 get to the finals and win his chip. Anthony Edwards is not even close to being 26 yet.
Yeah.
So They rushed the process. I get why they rushed the process. Minnesota hasn't been in the playoffs for such a long time. They've been a down in the dumps franchise.
Since Tibbs, right?
Last
time they gave up some young pieces to get Jimmy Butler in there. Hey, worked for a second until Jimmy torched the whole place up. But
that's a fact. That's a fact. But still, like, the team hasn't done much. They now felt some like relevant success because Cat, Anthony Edwards, those are your two guys. Although I still have questions about D'Angelo Russell. This guy's been on like there's questions of whether around he should be part of this team or not. So now you got to keep him, in my opinion, because not only is he Cat's boy, but now you change the outlook of this team by adding Rudy Gobert. It only makes sense to run it back one more time. But what they gave up in return to get Rudy Gobert, they have no depth. You're talking about no lottery picks to add depth. You gave up a lot of trade chips to get depth, and free agency isn't like that. You're not going to add any marquee player through free agency. You got to trade for them. So now it's going to be this core. I feel like they have to stick with D'Angelo Russell now, unless they figure out how to trade him this season because it's the last year of his contract. But you got to run with this team for a minute if you're the Timberwolves.
Yeah. No question about it. So to everybody in the chat, once again, let's get those likes up. 2,000 plus people in here. Number one show for the fans by the fans, KnicksFanTV. This is Knicks Weekly, presented by Manscaped. Running through the program tonight, Jalen Brunson. Are the Knicks going to be fined for tampering? Is Melo coming back to the Knicks? We did our Summer League preview, and we're taking some calls from the fans. I'm trying to get K Brooklyn 42 in here. K Brooklyn 42. Go ahead and unmute your mic. K Brooklyn 42.
All right, gentlemen, how you doing?
Good, man. How you feeling?
What's going on?
Feeling pretty good. Feeling good. Couple of points I want to point out here.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't the second time that the Knicks have finessed the Mavericks. This is the third time. If you remember in 2011, when Tyson Chandler won a championship for the team,
Good point.
just gifted him away to the Knicks, and in that very same season, won Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
I like
Fool
it.
me once, shame on you. Here comes fool me twice. When we traded Kristaps Porzingis away and got all those draft picks away, only for 2 years later, Mark Cuban says, I'm done.
I'm good.
I don't need you no more. And trades him to Washington. That's fool me twice. Now, 3 times, you're going to let Jalen Brunson go? And this whole tampering situation, Mark Cuban doesn't like this, that, and the third. Listen, Mark Cuban is basically a Knicks fan on the low. We can just attest to that. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He really wants to own. If James Dolan wasn't owning the Knicks, it'd probably be Mark Cuban.
It'd probably be Mark Cuban, right?
The way he keeps gifting us these nice little players and picks and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I digress. This Knicks team, with the moves that they've done this season, has been eye-opening because this isn't something you see the Knicks do on a daily basis. They went strictly on needs and not on wants, which is perfect, especially given the fact that for the last few years we haven't won much of anything. It's nice to finally realize that we got some W's now. We got some wins, and this team, with the roster it is now, they can win 45 to 47 games. I'm not going to go 50. You got to see how the way the season plays out, but they're not a play-in team. Let me just make it clear. They are not a play-in team.
Okay.
They are at least 5th, 4th seed team. And, that's my take. Also, one more thing. We're not trading Julius. No. Let's just get it out the way right now. This man is here to stay. He committed to us. We need to commit to him. Because he could have easily been, I want the max deal. I want all the money. The man literally took less money so that the Knicks can bring in players like a Jalen Brunson, who can trade for players like a Donovan Mitchell. So for people to go, we need to trade Julius Randle, let's not go there yet. And of course, great to be on the show. Appreciate all you guys.
Appreciate it, man.
We'll see what's going on this season, man.
All right. Appreciate it. Okay, so K from Brooklyn. K Brooklyn 42. I don't know if he's from Brooklyn or not, but that was his name. I liked his approach with the call, Al. See, he came in, he started with the history lesson. Gave you a draft grade, a free agency grade, and then revealed that he's an open member of the Randle Hive.
Yes.
And said, take it or leave it. I'm out. Rate that call in the chat. I'm very curious to see where the chat is going. Because see, now I see the tomatoes coming in.
Yep.
I saw
Yep.
some 5s earlier, and then the tomatoes are coming in.
It started off 5s.
Yeah.
Now, once it got to Randle, the tomatoes came flying.
Yeah, the car went swerving off a cliff.
I like the Tyson Chandler edition.
That was a good one, yeah.
That's a good one.
That was a good one. He's very optimistic, man. 4th seed.
Yeah, he
4th
said.
seed.
I think he said 5th or 6th seed. I think that's where he said.
Okay.
I think he's still from like you're saying that this team is out of the lottery. I get it. I feel like I know we still need to see this team play. I feel like that's very optimistic for a bunch of new guys coming in. I feel like still a lot of continuity in the East. I'm still sticking with the play-in structure for this Knicks team, though.
I think that's fair. Corso 117, you're on deck on the Discord. We're gonna go back to the phones. We're going to Tennessee. Victor in the building. Victor, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Good, man. Are you a first-time caller, man?
I'm a first-time caller.
Nice. I don't think we really get callers from Tennessee. So, yeah, good stuff, bro.
Well, I'm in Tennessee, but I grew up in the Bronx.
Okay, there you go.
Let's go.
I first started watching the Knicks back in '82, like the Sly Williams, Ray Williams, the Trent Tuckers, that type of team. So I've been a fan of it for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So my question to you is, I wanted to address, you addressed the Summer League.
Mm-hmm.
But my question to you is, how do you see this team moving forward? Because I have a lot of optimism.
Mm-hmm.
I think this team has more talent than people think. It's just the way that it has to be used. And I think that probably falls on Tibbs and how he does rotations and put people in. I like the addition of Jalen Brunson. I know some people think we overpaid, but that was an issue that we addressed for a long time. Like if you go back to when they first started to construct this team, and they first got Julius Randle. When Julius Randle first got here, he was given the keys. As the player, you're the man. And that's the way it's always been. And we now know that he clearly is not the man. You're a part of it, but you're not the man.
Yeah.
And so now that we've finally addressed the point guard position, which I think quickly could have done as well, how do we move forward? And how do you see this team constructed as the way it is moving forward? Like, who I know a lot of people talk about, we should get rid of this person, we should get rid of that person. I'm just curious on your thoughts.
All right. Appreciate the call, man. First time caller. We want to make sure he gets his point across. Look, I think from my perspective, as long as Julius is here, he's going to be the X factor for this team. And he had the most improved year. He had the All-Star year, but obviously looking at last year, that was an outlier. Can he bounce back? Can he get to somewhere in the middle? 30% from 3, dropping off from 40. He fell off a cliff from 3. How will his decision-making improve? Can it improve? Cut down on the turnovers, making quick decisions with the ball. A lot of this is still going to be dependent on him because, as I was on with Ian Begley earlier today, and even though, from my perspective and from what we've heard, he's not an untouchable player, he still has a lot of ties in this organization, whether it's the Worldwide West, it's Leon Rose, his agent is Aaron Mintz, he's in the CAA Mafia, him and Tibbs were close when he got here. So he still has fans within this organization. They gave him the big contract, even though, he took some money off to allow them to do what they do. They gave him the deal. He's still going to be a big factor. So my question is, how will he gel, number one, with RJ, They only had a handful of 20-plus point games in the same game. How does he gel with Brunson? Will he trust Brunson with the basketball? Can he play off of those guys? How connected will he be if he doesn't have the ball in his hands on both ends of the floor? All of that are big, big keys to this team's success. He has to play well, or else they're not going to be good. And if he doesn't play well, how much longer is this team going to commit to him and what direction they were going? That I can't necessarily answer. All I can say is while he's on this team, it's not about Brunson. Yes, RJ is going to be relied on in his fourth year to take a step, but Julius has to play well. That's just, there's no way around it.
You're asking how long Randall's leash is? I think it's this season, man. I really think it's this season. At this point, you have half a season to get yourself back on track, or maybe even the full season. You have this entire, somewhere between half to this entire season to get yourself back on track. Like I said, we got him the point guard. There's no excuses. It's not Elfrid Payton. It's not a broken down Kemba Walker. Okay. You now have Jalen Brunson, who is respected throughout the league. We saw the tweets. We saw all that. We saw Mikal Bridges. We saw John Morant. All these guys give him his praise, right? We know he can be a key factor in helping teams succeed. We just saw him get to the Western Conference Finals, being the second best player next to Luka Doncic. If Randle can't do it this season, at this point, you have to sever the ties. And you talk about it, like, yes, they got the relationships. We had the whole Woj podcast where it heard all these guys were sitting down at a dinner table asking, Randle, what do you need to be better? I need someone to hold. He said, I need someone to hold me accountable, who's going to push me, all these things, this, that, and the third. He got it. So this is his team. It's being built for him. Maybe not for him, but for right now, to help him succeed. It's with him in mind, okay, as well as RJ. So to me, this is the last season. Once again, how this team succeeds, I'm looking at the Eastern Conference standings this past season. Got the Miami Heat, Boston Celtics, Milwaukee Bucks, 76ers, Raptors, Bulls. Those are your top 6 teams. I don't see that changing next season.
Yeah.
I see that being the same. The teams that are up in question, Atlanta Hawks, Brooklyn Nets, Cleveland Cavaliers, Hornets, and then right after them, the New York Knicks. They're right there. That's why I say a play-in team. They were expected to be a play-in team last season. I think it's going to be the same this season. Where they go moving forward, this is just a small step in the progression. We're going to see how this team works together. After this season, it's going to be like, all right, do we want to keep Cam? Yes or no? Do we got him? Who we're moving? Do any of these guys take another step moving forward? Does Emmanuel quickly, Obi Toppin take a step moving forward? Is Julius Randle still part of this team? Is he playing well? All that's going to be answered during this season, and probably will be resolved somewhere during the middle before the trade deadline or afterwards. The piece right now that I could say is RJ Barrett, Jalen Brunson, Mitchell Robinson. Those guys I can guarantee. Quentin Grimes, because he's a rookie. He's on a rookie skill contract. I feel like Tibbs is invested in him. But I feel like those guys, like I can kind of guarantee that, yes, same thing with Hartenstein because he was given a contract too. Although that can change today, tomorrow, because it's not a big time deal. But I feel like those guys I initially named, RJ, Mitch, Brunson, those 3 guys in particular, those guys are set because RJ, 3rd overall pick of the draft, they're going to re-sign him. They want him to be part of this future. Brunson, you just paid him. Mitch, you just paid him. Like these guys are here now. You know?
Yeah, no question. And so, I think again, they are hitching their wagon to this Brunson deal. This has to work out. This has to work out for them.
Has to be a playing team, man. This
has to work out for them because this is the biggest deal that they've signed in their 3 years being here. And it has to lead to progress, not necessarily, doubling your wins or forcing these, but it's got to lead to progress. And then in the meantime, what will they do with all of this draft capital that they've acquired? Is there a player out there that they can get within the next, if they get 2 years, they'd be lucky, but within that time frame to improve the team? Are they going to continue to focus on the young players? See, they double back on the mistakes that they made in the last offseason. No regime bats 1,000. They made their mistakes. They collected draft capital to remove the mistakes. Now they have a team that's primarily young, Will they continue on that trend? Will they continue to focus on these guys? Are there guys who continue to take the next step? RJ, Grimes. Does Mitch have some growth in him? Sims, IQ. Are they keepers? Do they move forward? It's left to be seen.
I got a question for you, CP. What do you define as improvement for this team moving forward? Because you said it's not doubling your win totals.
Yeah.
So what do you define as moving forward for this team?
For next season, because if we're talking about playing, we're talking about what, 45 wins?
Yeah, like Hornets got 43 and 39 to make the play.
So we're talking 45 wins, improvement from your young players. Brunson proven to be a positive on this team. I think that's what I'm talking about. I don't think they have, what the last caller was saying, 5th, 6th seed. I don't think they have the talent for that, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they have the talent for that.
I agree with that, and that's why I keep saying they were playing a team. Another question for you though, for Randle, because I know there's been some chatter on on Twitter. Everyone's been talking about Randle, trading Randle, moving Randle, this, that, and the third. Randle bounces back, has a strong season. Are you keeping him, or are you moving him?
I think they should move him. I think they should move him at the earliest that they can. But again, going back, people expecting to just dump him and just they're not doing that. You have all this salary committed to him. You're gonna try to get equal or better value. This is not gonna be a dump for 2 second-round picks and a salary dump that everybody's just throwing out there. You know how many times my DMs have been flooded with Randle salary dump trades? I don't answer them. I don't even want to entertain them. I get no joy out of playing Julius Randle salary dump fantasy trade basketball. Don't send me any trade machine screenshots. I'm not looking at it. But go ahead. Sorry, I went off in a tangent, but go ahead.
You're about to get like 20 of those right after the show, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, so you're trading Randle at all costs, whether it's good or bad. You're moving Randle
if he improves, and they can improve the team through a trade.
Okay.
Sure.
All right.
Sure.
All right.
But that's a big if. That's a big if, because like I said, I want to see how he plays off of RJ and Brunson. That chemistry between those three is going to be critical. Can he play off ball? Is he going to stay connected? That's a big if. Big if.
I agree. And that's where I'm like, I think you move him, because for 3 seasons here, it's been off, on, off. If it's on, I'm like, are we going to get an on season next year? Is it going to be an off season? Who knows?
Right.
So at that point, that's where I'm like, that's where I'm saying just move Randle. I think it's best at this point, for all parties, all parties involved.
Yeah. No question. No question about it. All right, let's get 2 more in here before we wrap. Great show, though. Excellent show. Good topic of conversation. We got a game Friday, post-game live, Summer League Friday. All right, Corso on the Discord, Corso117. Go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey, fellas. How you guys doing?
Good, man. What's your name? Where are you calling in from?
Call me AP. I'm from Connecticut, but I'm
Nice.
calling by way of Yonkers. I'm from Yonkers originally.
Why, yo? Let's go.
The
What's going on?
914, let's get it.
Let's go.
Yep. You know, it's funny. I was actually going to ask that question about, what's it going to take if the front office would ever change its mind on Randle about trading him if he plays better in the future, but I guess I already hit that question. So, but I guess with Randle, it's really all about what's going on between the ears, right? Because it's obvious that he has the talent and that he can play well. He's already shown that to us. And I just know that, one moment we're getting trades to, sell for pennies on the dollar. And then we're going to see Randle come out for a month hot. And everybody's going to be like, nah, we won't even trade him for Durant. You know what I mean? So it's just like this fan base can be wild sometimes. But earlier in the show, you'd mentioned that that Mark Stein tweet about the tampering allegations, right? And I just think it's a joke because it's like, every team is tampering, to be honest,
Mm-hmm.
with all these deals being announced at the deadline. But the one thing to keep in mind is that I know Mark Stein started his career in Dallas as a beat writer for the Mavericks and stuff like that. So just reading the tea leaves, I think that's more about maybe he's in touch with somebody at the front office.
Good
maybe
points.
he knows that they've already filed a complaint or what have you. So,
Good points.
But anyway, I just wanted to keep it quick. The one question I have for you guys, I think it's a fun question, is what lineup are you looking forward to seeing this season? It doesn't have to be a starting lineup, just any 5 guys that you want to see on the floor. That's all I got.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
All right, Corso 117 dropping some gems, a little connection.
sure.
We got to let us get into. So I like, man, everybody bring a brick to the show. You know what I'm saying? Our guy Sam comes through with his analytics point of view. Dan from Jersey gave us a little intel on Montero. Everybody bring a brick. You know what I'm saying? We keep this thing moving.
You got your call from St. Louis giving us intel on Tatum.
That's right.
And,
Jay from the Lou.
Knicks fans, man. Everyone's plugged in.
Jay from the Lou, man. Wow. So like we typically do our lineup shows as a whole complete show. You know what I'm saying? You kind of put us on the spot right now. I got my pen and paper right here. I don't know if we should save this for a show.
I mean, we're going to do the show anyway. We're going to do the lineup show anyway. I'm just going to say this. Do not take this as my final lineup. I'm just going to be.
I need time to sift this through. I don't want like dead air on the thing. Let's table it. Let's table it for a second. Let's table it and do this to be continued because I want some time to construct and think about where I want to go here. Now, let me see Summer League, see what's going on. Let me get my overreactions in, and then I can kind of plug and play.
All right. That works for me. I mean, I get.
If you have one, throw one out there.
I'll give a fun lineup, not whether it's defensive, anything like that. I think one lineup that I do want to see is I would like to see quickly.
Yeah, I just IQ was the first name I wrote down right there.
RJ.
Yeah.
Cam. Obi Mitch.
You know what? I was kind of thinking along the same lines.
I mean, I just want to see those guys hoop, man. I just want to see those guys play.
Yeah. Off to the races. I like that lineup, though, man. I like that lineup a lot, man.
Everyone's getting out in transition. Everyone's pushing the pace.
Yeah.
That's what I need, man. Yeah. Running and gunning.
Yeah. Or, see, I like that. Or, this would be OD. That would be too small. I like Grimes, man. I got to get my guy Grimes out there, man.
No, this is not so.
I like Grimes. You get Grimes, Quick, Cam. You're in those passing lanes. Then you got Obi out there in transition. That's too small, though. Tibbs would never go for that. I like that. IQ.
You have RJ in that lineup, too?
Like
a super. Oh, yeah. That'd be fun.
Super small. Because you got solid rebounds between RJ, Grimes. Obi can get on the boards. IQ was getting on the boards last year.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So you're still crashing boards, but then you're off to the races.
See, man, this is like the type of stuff like we see the Warriors would implement a lineup like that.
Yeah. Well, Draymond cures all. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm just saying, even Steve Kerr, even without Draymond, we saw some pretty small lineups where it was like Poole, Clay, Steph, and they're still trying to get out there and run.
Yeah.
I need stuff like that, man.
Yeah. What would be our death lineup?
The death lineup for the Knicks?
Yeah.
I don't want to lose you.
Yeah. Let's table that. We just spitball it right now, just because my guy called in. But we're gonna do the show. We're gonna do the lineup show, and do our lineups again. There's something to think about. All right, last call. Matter of fact, 2 more calls. I got to get my guy Tom from Huntington in the building. Tom, what's going on?
Gentlemen, is this the number one show for the fans, by the fans?
You are correct,
guys,
sir. You found the right place.
Excellent work.
Yeah.
CP, you already know. Excellent job the other day with Sirius.
Appreciate
I had to call in. You're my guy. You did the number one work. You already know this. I'll keep it rapid fire because I know it's late. As far as my grade for the team so far, I give it like a C+. I can't go higher than that yet because I still think there's clutter that they have to clear out. You know what I mean? I still don't see how they're going to get Cam any minutes. Grimes is not going to sit. If Fournier's here, he's not sitting. Rose is not going to sit. I mean, who's sitting? I mean, who's? Yeah. It's a little tough. Like that's my biggest gripe is the direction. I still feel that like we don't know where they're going. I'm excited about Brunson. I've liked him from the beginning. I've been watching some of like the playoff games, some of the Dallas playoff games from this past season, and the thing I like about him is that when things get crazy, it's like he just slows it down. I mean, I know he's not like a super athletic point guard, but he just like slows it down, and he does it at his pace. The main thing I'd like to see him do is maybe help RJ with his footwork. If he could help him with his footwork, RJ could be like a superstar. I mean, he just slow it down, do your move, and punish him. That's his thing. But anyway, thanks for taking my call. Rapid fire. You guys have a wonderful evening. We'll talk soon.
My guy Tom from
Huntington. Shout out to Manscaped.
Absolutely.
And don't forget Manscaped.
Absolutely.
Number 1.
Absolutely. Tom from Huntington never forgets the priorities, man. Yeah, he did call in on the Sirius show. Definitely appreciate the support. But yeah, he's saying RJ should take a page out of Brunson's book. Still there?
What was that?
I said he was saying RJ should take a page out of Brunson's book.
Oh yeah, 100%. Sorry, speak cat out for a second.
Yeah,
but
I hear you.
No, absolutely. The whole going at your pace, and making you being decisive at your pace has shown to work in the NBA. Kawhi Leonard is like another guy that I think of when it comes to a guy who plays at his own pace, gets to where he wants, chooses his spots. DeRozan is another one. Like those are guys RJ should be like watching and learning from because he doesn't have that elite speed to just blow by guys. So learning from Brunson, that's an excellent point. Knowing how to get to your spots and using that strength because that's what Brunson does. Brunson uses his strength to shed guys off, to create the space, create that separation, to knock down his shots. RJ's got to do the same thing. If RJ can learn that, whoo boy, this team's good.
Yeah,
nice.
Good points. Our closer for the night. Let's go to our guy Dan from LI. Dan, how you feeling?
What is good, fellas? What is good? Great job Friday night with the serious thing.
Appreciate it.
Listen, guys, here's my question. And by the way, anybody, I know I've been down on you the last few times I've called, but I'm going out the window because I'm gonna get myself a half season tickets to 22. I'm doing that.
Let's go.
He's going
I'm in. Having said that, though, guys, here's my question to you, expert. We've been going with the, get the draft picks, and then, go make a play for a trade. I think that's what Leon's been talking about. But now with this Gobert deal really changing the market, does that plan go out the window? Because with that type of haul, if that's the price, you can't miss, right? You can't miss on Spider if you go for him at these types of prices. Now, I know that, like, Spider's tied in, right? He's attractive because he's already locked into a deal. But, it just concerns me. And here's the real question, right? Is our money better spent on getting a front office that has really, really locked in scouts, right? Because, we paid a lot of money for Brunson, who's somebody else's second round pick. We had a lot of luck getting quickly late with the Mook Morris deal, right? We got that second first rounder and we were able to get IQ, right? That's good scouting. Mitch is a second round pick. But, Murray from San Antonio, who people were talking about, was a late first round pick.
Yeah.
Is that what we should be spending our money and our time? Because, free agency's not there. And again, now that these draft pick trade things seem like they're going to be, the market's changed on. I think we're going to have to change our approach. I know that was a little bit convoluted. I'd like to get your guys' thoughts. Right? Have a great night.
Appreciate the call, man. Appreciate the call. I think that is where they have invested with this regime when you talk about bringing in a seasoned vet like a Walt Perrin. Think about his draft record coming from a small market team in Utah, some of the gems that he was able to pick up late, as you said, the Paul Millsaps, the Haywards, the Goberts, finding Joe Ingles off the scrap heap. Donovan Mitchell getting picked late in the lottery, whether that was luck, but, other teams passing up
Hayward.
on him. Yeah, right. I mentioned Hayward as well. And so, the architect for a lot of those picks is here with the team right now. And if you look at how the Knicks have been doing so far, based on where they've been picking, I think they've picked up a lot of value. Whether you talk about Obi quickly, you have Rokas in the G League, you have Grimes, McBride certainly looked had his moments, and we'll see what happens there. And so, I think the Knicks, to a certain extent, like a lot of these small market teams, I don't think any team can really guarantee themselves building through free agency unless you're the champs, the Golden States of the world, or Miami, who seems to always get, Riley always gets his guy, or Golden State because they're the champions. But a lot of teams, you have to figure that it's got to be through the draft. It has to start through the draft. And so I think that's where the Knicks are starting. But nevertheless, if there is a move out there that, they feel like is going to take them over the hump with their accumulation of draft assets, you got to pull it. You got to pull it. I'm not so sure they'd be so aggressive now with the Spider because, a Brunson Spider backcourt just doesn't make that much sense. You have two guys who aren't above average defenders, smaller guys. I don't think that makes sense. I think the Knicks kind of made their choice with Brunson here, but, stranger things have happened. We'll see how it goes.
I think it's fun because Mitchell has the New York ties, right? And his family works for the Mets. So I think it's always fun to tap into Donovan Mitchell. He's from the area, this, that, and the third. So that's why it's always fun to bring up Donovan Mitchell. But with this trade setting the market, as I brought up earlier in the show, like this is where it's like you don't want to push in all your chips for a win now move for the Knicks because you're not even there right now. But mentioning Walt Perrin, mentioning his draft capability, his ability to draft and find top talent, you're going to go into 2023 with, 2 picks, right? Mavs, I know I think it's top 10 protected. So as long as it's out of the top 10, that will convey. You got the Knicks pick, and we got, we got Washington and Detroit's picks, which could, although they probably won't based on the protections they already have. Mm-hmm. So I look at it as you continue to build through the draft. You continue to develop talent. What's more valuable than draft assets are players that are actually in the league that can play. So if you can continue to develop talent, if you can continue to build a winning culture with this team, it will a star player will want to come to the Knicks because they could see a team that's consistently winning. Mm-hmm. 2, when you have developed talent, you don't need to include that many assets to go get somebody. I mean, when you look at the Rudy Gobert trade, you're talking about one of the top defensive players, especially at the center position in the league. Yeah. So that's why they had to compensate. So because they didn't have anyone, unless you want to throw Katz or Edwards or anyone else into the deal. So that's why they gave up as many assets as they did. That's so if the Knicks can actually develop talent, you won't need to move so many assets, which is draft capital to get somebody. So Knicks, what they need to do, continue to build winning habits, develop talent. And when you can start moving players that have good salaries, right, that you can aggregate together to go move for that star player, that's more valuable than trying to trade all these draft assets. Because the thing that most of these teams can't do is draft well. So like you're starting to see the talent rise in the league, yes, but it doesn't mean like everyone's going to be great. The talent's just getting better. And who's going to separate to being an elite player is just going to be different. So Knicks just got to stay the course. Just keep developing and drafting well.
That's a good point. That's a good point you made, and something to think about, because with that Minnesota trade, Katz and Edwards were their cornerstones. They really didn't have anything else. And so, the guys that they let go, I thought were valuable for them, but may not be as valuable for Utah. Pat Beverly and Jared Vanderbilt, and even though I like Malik Beasley's game, those are throw-ins. The picks were the premium. But as Alex is saying, if you're developing multiple threats on your team, then you can pair those off and it'll diminish the amount of draft picks that you have to compensate with. Or at least you hope, right? At least you hope that is the case, depending on what the market is, the demand, so on and so forth. So, we'll just have to see what happens, man. But great show. Great show, Al. Great show, TM, all the mods. Great show to Edgar. Congratulations to Edgar. Our guy Edgar just got engaged. So shout out to KnicksFanTV Edgar. Shout out to everybody on KnicksFanTV.com. Coming up, first game of the offseason. Knicks versus the champs. Summer League. First rule of Summer League is it's only Summer League, but we will be overreacting Friday night. Knicks postgame live. Let's get it going. Let me salute the super chat so I don't forget. Great show. Let me salute the super chats. Super fly. Okay. Super chats. Here we go. Okay. Super chats. Shout out to Albert Baez. Troy Davis, $5 super chat says trade Randle and have Melo backing up Obi at the 4. Melo's exactly what the youth needs to balance the nut we have in Tibbs. Chill with the Melo hate. See, the Melo hive, they're almost like the Rose hive. To a lesser degree, the Cam hive, they're very sensitive group. So if you say no, you're automatically a hater. You're automatically
Shots fired.
Yeah.
Shots fired.
Yeah. I expect it. I expect it. It is what it is. We never run from the smoke. Eric Horn. So we don't need a sideshow. We need chips. I think he was talking about Melo. Bisman Singh, $5 super chat says, what's Derrick Rose's role with Brunson here? Will Rose still get closing minutes? Where he has been reliable, being Tibbs' go-to guy? The closing part's a good question. His role to me, Al, and this question was asked when I was on with Ian Begley. I said, why? Look, I think him and Quick are going to be running and gunning with that second unit. And I think they're going to be even more formidable with Quickly taking another step in year 3. His confidence is swagged out. He was at the white party with Hove and them, flashing the ice. Quickly's,
made for New York, man. He's made for New York.
He's here, man. Quickly settling into his own. That's my guy. And, now will Rose be closing? I don't necessarily think so. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Maybe you have a Rose and Brunson backcourt, RJ at the 3. Who knows? Never know. That's certainly possible depending on your matchups on a given night. So I wouldn't rule that out. That's Tibbs' son. Tibbs got his 2 sons now in the lineup. So
Rose and Brunson.
All right. Ty Busy, $5 super chat said the league needs to define what's tampering. Got your open $5 super chat. Appreciate it. And Clee, $10 super chat says, God bless. Clee, definitely appreciate the support, man. Great show. Great show, everybody, once again. And remember to salute our sponsors, man. Manscaped, fellas. Go to manscaped.com. Enter promo code KFTV for 20% off plus free shipping. Remember that these shows are available in audio podcast format, all the major podcast platforms. If you're an Apple podcast listener, leave us a review. It goes a long way. Leave us a comment. Salute to the replay gang. We do reply back to the comments in the comment section. So leave us a comment and we'll get back to you guys. So that's that with the show. Al, great show. TM, all the mods. We out of here, man. See you guys Friday night. #1 show for the fans by the fans. Peace.